recognize that there's something that you truly want, some goal that you want to pursue or a dream that you want to realize, what happens next? If you're like most people, you'll start planning, and then you'll plan some more, then you'll do some research. Then you'll make a list of all the skills that you'll need to develop before you begin. Maybe you'll need to acquire a degree or two in order to feel that you're qualified to proceed. You'll do everything in your power to feel prepared. Everything you need to do to guarantee success. And also, everything in your power to avoid taking any real action. This struggle to design and execute the perfect plan is a popular form of resistance, of procrastination. You see, action follows the law of momentum. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. People often think that action arises from clarity, but that's actually backwards. Clarity arises out of action. We can't see where we're going or what we want or what's available or what's possible until we're actually out in the world trying things. This is how we learned as kids, but we have often forgotten as adults. The trick is to get into motion and to keep adjusting and exploring, and your path will begin to unfold before you. Purpose isn't something that you figure out before you begin. Purpose is something that catches up to you while you're in action. And to get into action, without waiting for that perfect plan, without having much clarity around what you want or where you're going to need to be scrappy. You're going to need a synergy of courage, creativity, and action. Yes, and that means that you might fail. And sometimes what's even scarier is you might succeed, which brings with it a whole host of fears and stories and resistances that are often even more subtle and more fundamental than the fear of failure. New action is often hard. The first time, and often the second and the third time you do something, it feels impossible, weird, uncomfortable, risky, messy. It feels vulnerable, mostly because this is emotional risk, though sometimes it can involve financial and physical risk as well. So the real question here is, how do you get into action when action is hard? There's a lot of conflicting advice about this. When to push, when to plan, when to relax, when to wait, when to take tiny steps, when to take big steps. In both my own life and in my coaching, I've noticed that different strategies intuitively arise in different contexts, based on how resourced you feel in the moment. The appropriate strategy for when you are active but disconnected is different than the strategy for when you are inactive and overwhelmed, which is also different from the strategy when you are emotional and you feel completely drained of life force. Those of you who know me know that I'm a big fan of sequencing and holarchies, and one day I discovered that there was a common sequence that I had been following. Wherever I was at, there was an appropriate strategy for that level, and it was a strategy that would lead me to the next level up. I call these the access strategies, and I'm going to discuss the first 3 of them here. These are the first 3 stages that most people try to skip when they're trying to make something happen. They're at stage 1, trying to skip all the way to stage 4, and not surprisingly, they end up stuck. The very first access strategy is surrender. When your energy is low, when you're triggered and emotional and paralyzed with fear, the first thing that you need to do is simply let go. You need to face your fear of failure. You need to die before you go into battle. At this stage, your job is to feel your feelings, to allow the healing to happen. and to get back in touch with your inherent well-being. Through this stage, you reconnect with your sense that you are fundamentally okay, no matter what circumstances you're facing. The second access strategy is awareness. When your mind is racing and you're feeling overwhelmed, it's time for you to slow down. This is where you learn to empty your mind, get present to the moment, and take stock of the world around you. Your level of awareness in any given moment determines the quality of your experience, and it's this awareness that allows you to enter the world with your eyes open, which makes way for the third access strategy, which is action. You need to be in action. Do something, anything. This is not action that comes from clarity and choice. That's actually the next access strategy, the fourth one. This is inspired action, allowing yourself to follow your impulses moment to moment. This is action before you have clarity, before you have confidence. This is action for the sake of movement and play and exploration rather than progress. Note here the difference between clarity and awareness. You don't need to know where the action will lead you or whether it will succeed, but you do need to proceed with awareness, with your eyes open. Because without awareness, action is just being busy. With awareness, action is an exploration. So take tiny steps, unsustainable steps, experimental steps. Take steps that are likely to fail. Take steps that, if they succeed, could change your life. At this stage, you are gaining ground through learning and through momentum, independent of success. So, those are the first three access strategies. They build on top of each other. Where you cannot surrender, you will avoid awareness. And where you are not aware, your action will be in vain. When you keep these access strategies in mind and consciously engage them in the right order, getting into action becomes easy. Feeling stuck is often a sign that you're skipping a step, using a good strategy but at the wrong time. Coming up next week, I'll be posting a third video about becoming unstoppable, as well as revealing some more about the upcoming Integrity and Action training program. For today, try something new. Try something you've never done before, something that feels like it won't work, but it might. And give yourself permission to surprise yourself and see what happens.